Welcome to Real Estate of Mind, a Farming Group podcast. Welcome to Real Estate of Mind, and of course the Leadership Minute. We did our first episode of this a few weeks back, and this is Andy Gutman. I'm sitting here today with Chris Chesney, our controller for property management accounting, and one of our, I don't want to say up and coming leaders because you've got a certain number of years of experience, but Chris is destined for greatness here and already doing amazing things. And so we are going to talk a little bit today about leadership. And one of the things that we were talking earlier, and it sparked this conversation, and Chris said to me something about perception as a leader. And I don't know if you remember saying that, but it struck a chord. So why don't you tell our listeners your perspective on people's perception of your leadership?
To me, leadership is all about the image that you portray and how that comes across to different people. I've always looked at it that if the image that I portray is of a certain substance that people will interpret it in either a positive or negative way, then that must be the way that I am presenting it, in which case it's a reality that it is either a problem or something positive. Everything that we do is about that confidence that we instill in other people. And if we're not doing an appropriate job of carrying ourselves and presenting that image, then it comes across in a way that we do not intend for it to.
And you know, it's an interesting point, because we all know leadership itself is not popularity. And so you're not talking about leadership as a way of being popular. You're saying to our clients, if there's a perception that we're not meeting their needs, and clients being internal and external.
Yep.
So if someone approaches you and says, hey Chris, I feel like I'm not getting information on a particular property, what you're saying is that's their perception, and you need to do what you can as a leader to rectify that.
Exactly. We field those questions. I obviously don't want to say fairly regularly, but we do get those questions coming in from different clients or partners, vendors, owners, it doesn't matter. And the approach that we take is always to say that, we understand where you're coming from. What can we do to make sure that this does not happen again? And we work to recognize that while we may not always agree 100% that we have done that, at the end of the day, whether we feel we did or didn't is irrelevant, because the important person in that transaction, our client, feels that we did, and we will fix that.
And I think that's a great way of looking at things, and I know you're promoting that with your employees and teaching them that, and it really is about making sure that there is client satisfaction. It doesn't mean we're always presenting good news to the clients. Yeah. We know that comes with it, and that's also part of leadership. But when they say to us, I'm not satisfied, it means we have to work on our communication with them and make sure they're getting, to the greatest extent possible, what we need and what they need, which is different than, with our employees and with people that we lead, where we know communication is still so very important, but many times it's about delivery, it's about understanding what needs to be done, and helping them to achieve both internal and external client satisfaction. Their top priority, doing what needs to be done within their various disciplines, but leading the way and providing the tough love when it needs to be provided. So there are times as a leader that you're dealing with your employees, or you're dealing with, even if it's an outside client and you have to deliver bad news, that's part of leadership.
Absolutely. And when we do have those circumstances, whether it's within our team internally or when it is delivering bad news to a client, we definitely take the tact that honesty is key. Admit the mistake, recognize the mistake, move on. Honest feedback is the best kind of feedback, regardless of internal or external. And honesty will get you a long way in anything that you do.
And hopefully that's something we teach our people every day.
Absolutely.
Although I find that funny, because there are times when we'll hold a meeting and someone will say, well, honestly, this is my opinion, I'll go, wait a minute, were you not being honest right before we were talking?
Yes.
But it is important. It's important to be forthright and honest, and especially admit the mistakes that we make. And I've seen you on many occasions talk to people, and the first thing you do if we made a mistake corporately is you apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, we'll make it right. And there's been times when it cost us money
Mm-hmm.
to rectify something that, through an honest mistake of staff or someone else, it occurred. It happened on our watch, and it's not the client's fault. It's right in our court, honest mistake or otherwise. We have to make it right, and that is half the battle of leadership, is saying, whether it comes out of our pocket or not, the right thing to do is to rectify that situation. I give you a lot of praise for handling things that way with our clients.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to add to this great leadership minute today?
My only closing comments would be that, to me, leadership is a lot about living the words that you are speaking. To me, there's nothing greater than being a person of high integrity and good, even though morals are very subjective, having a moral backing. And I believe that if we continue to utilize that integrity within our team, eventually that rubs off, and everybody will operate obviously integrity with our clients and external is very high on the list of importance.
Absolutely. The opening line to our vision statement is with ethics and integrity, and that's how
Absolutely.
we try to operate every day here at Farbman. This is Andy Gutman and Chris Chesney. This will not be Chris's last podcast. We've got him lined up in a few weeks, I believe, to talk to us about property management accounting and some of the nuances and cool things going on in that side of the industry. But for this week, Andy Gutman and Chris Chesney signing off for Real Estate of Mind. Join us next time for another wonderful edition of Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast.